Okay, well, I know you can't tell it, but it's been about 10 days since I made the first part of this video where I was showing you all these components and they were still inside the gas tank, inside my Jetta. As you can see, they are outside the gas tank, outside of the Jetta now, and in a cardboard box on the kitchen floor. And the first thing that some of you are probably noticing is that the fuel filter is also out along with the fuel pump, and I'll tell you why that is in a minute. So, the process of removing the fuel pump, I don't even know how to explain it. Is it more complicated or more simple than I first thought it was going to be? Both. You can see here the lines came out with the pump and with the filter, and what I can tell you is I don't know how it works on the normal style of Jetta fuel pumps, but on this style, the BBW style, you basically have to take apart or take three connections for these hoses off. There's one here that's obviously the rest of this hose is still inside the fuel tank. I have no idea where it goes. The other two go down to the fuel filter here. So when I was taking this apart, this one, I think this is the out port on it. So on the out port here, this one came off fairly easy. Okay, I couldn't see. You just got to get into the gas in the tank and just get dirty. Couldn't really see what I was doing, but I knew there would be a release on here of some kind. I'll try to show it to you. So on this one, if you see that kind of brownish ring there, this is actually like a plastic catch, and you just push that in with your thumb or whatever fingernail, and then that just pops right off of that port. So this one I was able to get off the pump. You can see here this line is cut. Now knowing what I know, you don't have to cut this line. I did, because when I took this one off, this one here, I was left with this arrangement, and all of this piece here, this Y piece, this is all pretty much covered by the gas tank, especially this part. I couldn't really see where this is going. I didn't know there was another connector up here. I was thinking that this part right here where my thumb is, this would just slide off of this Y adapter. Well, it did not. This part here had this hose here slid all the way up here to where my thumbnail is, and it had a metal clamp around it, which I took the clamp off, and then this hose, it wouldn't slide off of this part right here. So I ended up just cutting the thing in two and then trying to work on getting the pump out. So the pump, as I showed you before, there was three mounting feet that I could see, and there was a fourth one back here. I was right about that, but what I was completely wrong about was that you don't need to take those nuts off at all. That's not how this pump comes out. This pump, I don't know if it'll show up here, on the base here, it kind of has like a cam locking system. So what you do, this pump is pretty much oriented in the gas tank like this. You turn the pump, you just twist it, and then it comes right off of its mounting inside the gas tank. So the new pump, I've got it over here, I'll show that in a second. The new one, I'm sure, you're just going to put it down on there, you're going to twist it, and then those cam locks are going to lock it in place on the mount. And when I go out to install the pump here a little later, I can show you the mounting system that's in the tank. But it actually doesn't unbolt out, it just counterclockwise twist and pulls right up. So if you're going to do this the right way, what you're going to do is you're going to take this connector off here, you're going to take this connector off the fuel pump, or off the fuel filter, and you're going to take this connector off the fuel filter, and all of this stuff will come out, all the hoses will come out on this pump, and you'll see on the new pump they're all already installed. So the other thing is, I'll show you on this one here, this one has a similar style release tab on here. The trick is, and it's very easy to see here. Oh, there it is. I'm going to see if I can show it. You just push that in. See that? You just push that in, and then it comes right off the filter. Well, with two hands it does. So, I mean, it's easy. You can see there kind of some of the action of it when you press that in. But what's hard is A, if you don't know, this is how it's set up when it's in the car, and B, you can just barely see this and just barely reach it when all this stuff is still mounted inside the tank. So why did I go ahead and take the fuel filter out? Supposedly good for a lifetime. After doing a little research online, what I found was they pretty much say it's a lifetime filter just because it's so impossible to change. You would never just go in and change this fuel filter. So you know, the maintenance manuals or whatever, they just say it's lifetime, so you don't worry about it. So in addition to these two lines here that I showed you how to take off, there is an electrical connector on this fuel filter, and there's a third line over here that it disconnects in very much the same way as these other two, and I ended up getting it off. It was really hard to get this one off. I ended up taking a pair of channel lock pliers. The connector that was on there, you know, it's on there like the rest of these. Well, it's on there like the rest of these, but again, I could not see, and you don't have much room to work in there, where that release tab was, so I just took a pair of channel locks and I started squeezing, reorienting the pliers around that until something gave, and then the release came off, and then I could get the line off. The electrical connector was easy, it just pops right off. So why is the electrical connector on there? A little bit more research, come to find out, I guess this thing has some kind of a regulator in here. I'm going to assume it's not. It's like a passive system, some kind of potentiometer or something, and it sends a signal to the fuel relay, which then can turn this pump on and off. So I don't know. Is this thing bad? Is the fuel pump bad? Who knows? I'm replacing them both. This piece here, sorry, this rubber sleeve is over this too. You probably saw that in the first part of the video. It just slides right off, and then you're able to get the part number off of it. There it is, the 1JO201051B. And still some gas in it. So that's how the pump came out. That's how the filter came out. Here's the next piece. Getting a replacement fuel filter was really no problem. The fuel pump itself, when you take this out, there are no part numbers on this assembly at all. None. And this thing is such an oddball deal that you know, all the major parts chains that carry fuel pumps, they didn't have this, they didn't know what I was talking about. You go online, and what I found was a bunch of confused people like me that have the BBW engines, and these folks are trying to explain the setup of the steel fuel tank that they have online, and people are telling them, oh no, you know, you don't have a steel fuel tank. All the Jettas, or some of the Beetles too, they have plastic, you know. Are you sure you're looking at the right thing? And people just like me are saying, yeah, I know what I'm looking at. It's the fuel tank. So the issue is then finding the part number to get a replacement fuel pump. This is the replacement piece here. This piece here is actually part of the fuel pump, and you get this when you order a new assembly. And what I didn't know until I already found the number through extensive Google searching, I don't know if it'll focus in here. The part number for this, I don't think it's going to focus on it. The part number for this is actually embossed into the plastic on here, and it is 1J09119051N. So this piece holds the part number for the whole entire fuel pump. So, next thing is, where do you buy this? Well, the first thing I did, of course, such an oddball deal, I called the dealer. The dealer here in Honolulu wanted $678 for this. $678. And I said, okay, no thanks. I'm going to have to do some more research. Hold on. Alright. Sorry about that. So anyway, I told him I had to do some more research on this and get back to him. I called down to an import place here in Hawaii, in Honolulu. I bought some other BMW stuff from them, real good prices, and they wanted $600 for this. Well, and this. And I said, well, 600 is still too much, so I went to the internet, and I searched everywhere, every single website. It's been a long time since I've gone to more than 2 or 3 pages on a Google search, but I went through them all. And what I found, the cheapest I could find this was, I found one listed on eBay for about $450, and then I found this one here that I bought listed on Amazon for $428. And I had a good friend of mine back home. He's an auto mechanic. He called the dealers around home trying to get a better deal for me. He couldn't match it, so I went ahead and bought this one. This actual one came from a Volkswagen dealer in Oklahoma. But there you can see it is $428, and it was about $7 to ship it over here to Hawaii. I have no idea what makes this pump so high, but it is. And the new fuel filter that I got, this came from the import place I was telling you about, and this was $51 for this piece. But a drop in the bucket, if I'm going to put a $428 fuel pump in the car, I'm going to go ahead and replace a $50 fuel filter. I looked for this online too, a little cheaper, and I found a couple on eBay for about $38, $39. But by the time you got shipping and the delay in getting it over here, I just went with the local guys and got it done. So the next part of this, I'm going to show you how to install it, and then with any luck, it'll all work.